The court ruled yesterday in a 6-3 decision that President immunity.
Hi guys, welcome back to Solasta. Crown the Magister campaign, main campaign. I just have to fix something.
Writing, the President of the United States is the most powerful person in the country and possibly the world. When he uses his official powers in any way under the majority's reasoning, he now will be insulated from criminal prosecution. Orders the Navy's SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival, immune. Organizes a military coup to hold on to power, immune. Takes a bribe in exchange for a pardon, immune, immune, immune. Now, this is an argument that Chief Justice John Roberts sought to refute.
Just gotta redo my wizard.
This is what he wrote.
There's a spell
Of chilling doom that is
I forgot to take
to what the court actually does today.
that I need, so
between the president and his attorney general, and then remand to the lower courts to determine in the first instance whether and to what extent Trump's remaining alleged conduct is entitled to immunity. Coming up short on reasoning, the dissents repeatedly level variations of the accusation that the court has rendered the president above the law. But this decision has touched off a firestorm among Democrats here on Capitol Hill. There's talk of a constitutional amendment to overturn the decision and even an impeachment effort against the courts. Back to you guys.
And that would be from AIC.
That's right.
I also think they could, thank you, Doug. They're also going to be talking about expanding the Supreme Court again. Yeah. Adam Schiff doing that. Right. Because the Supreme Court's so unjust, just so amazing that the President of the United States saw an opportunity to distort and distract history. There's no doubt about it. If he didn't have such a hideous debate where people not only questioned the quality of his performance, but whether he's all there, he didn't need to come out and said, I have a speech, but of course didn't take questions after. The thing is, he was ridiculing President Trump for the New York verdict. He said, how dare you attack our justice system? But by the way, I would like to attack our justice system and started the Supreme Court and started invalidating it while mischaracterizing what the decision actually says.
This is the same guy who openly brags about defying the Supreme Court on things like student loans and other issues. And he's really upset that the Supreme Court stepped in to stop the lawfare that Democrats have been launching against his top political rival. This wouldn't have been necessary if they would have just beat him at the ballot box rather than trying to take him out through the Department of Justice.
I think the big thing is that 2 hours before, maybe a little bit more before, you had his successor, Chris Coons, come out and say that the president needs to do a 2-hour press conference. He goes, that's what I'm recommending. Jay Tapper is saying, hey, it was so bad. What is going wrong here with the president? And Chris Coons says, I recommend him to do it.
But what did he do?
Goes out there, nothing. 5 minutes. We know he can deliver some days a Proctor speech for 5 minutes. I mean, I don't know if there could be a lower bar.
He walked away so fast from that.
So fast from the
fast as he could.
I mean, it was the perfect opportunity to get rid of all doubts, but instead, he took it as a moment to change the narrative. And that's what all the Democrats are doing right now. They want to make this about the Supreme Court. There was nothing to see last week when it comes to the president and his mental fitness. It's all about them. This is getting reactive, by the way.
There he goes. Back to the
That squad ruling. This is a ruling that says that as long as you can construe it as an official or quasi-official act, you can do absolutely anything. Absolutely anything. And never be held accountable, not only while you are president, but forever. They've declared the president and former presidents to be kings, but they've also declared themselves the hand of the king.
It's almost like a license to thug, in a way. Like, you can do whatever you want, and the Supreme Court is probably going to let you get away with it.
This is something that the justices actually wrote down and put in writing, which is that we do now have a king.
Yesterday, it was very clearly a huge victory for Donald Trump. He wanted absolute immunity. They gave him immunity, however, when he is in the commission, the president of official acts. Let's bring in Greg Jarrett, Fox News legal analyst. He's been chewing on this for a little while. So, Greg, now it's all going to come down to, I don't think any of those people we just saw actually read the opinion, because John Roberts, the Chief Justice, made it very clear. The president and no person is above the law. But if he's in the commission of an official act, that's okay. Now, of course, the lower court, Chutkan, the judge, is going to have to determine whether or not all that stuff was official or not official.
Yeah, and in the mass hysteria
among the liberal media and Democrats is really quite overwrought. I mean, it's exaggerated vitriol. This was a common sense, well-reasoned opinion. It was quite obvious and predictable. The Supreme Court did exactly what I said they'd do months ago, which was extend the 40-year-long civil liability protection to criminal culpability, because the same reasoning applies. And Steve, I think the immunity decision affects all of the Trump cases. At minimum, it delays them because the admissibility of evidence now has changed rather dramatically. The Supreme Court said prosecutors cannot even introduce testimony of official acts at trial. So that means Special Counsel Jack Smith will have to scale back his two prosecutions considerably, maybe abandon some of the charges entirely. If he does go forward, the trial courts then have to hold evidentiary hearings. What's admissible? What's not? And Trump can appeal those decisions directly, which only delays the trial. So this, I think, makes it nearly impossible for Smith's case to happen before the election.
What about
same with the Georgia case?
But what about New York, though, Greg? Because the whole defense of the former president was that it was a business expense. It was a legal expense. He was president at the time where the expense happened, but it was a business transaction. So this new appeal to the court, would this have the standing for the court to hear?
Well, you know, Lawrence, if we were talking about a neutral, impartial judge who actually cares about fairness and due process, then Trump's request yesterday evening to postpone the sentencing, consider setting aside the verdict, would be seriously entertained. But, you know, that's not Juan Merchan. His bias, writ large at trial, enabled a wrongful conviction. He trampled over the defendant's rights, reversible errors galore. He obliterated the rules of evidence, and he committed truly shocking constitutional violations. So are we now to expect that same judge to have an epiphany of ethics and dismantle what he has done? No, that's not Merchan. The verdict, I think, will eventually be reversed, but not by this judge or any court in New York. Only the federal courts will offer relief because they're the ones that care about the rule of law and due process.
Greg, I have a follow-up question on the federal cases of Jack Smith's cases against the president. What's kind of flown under the radar is the dissent by Justice Clarence Thomas, where he actually questions the constitutionality not just of Special Counsel Jack Smith and the way he was appointed, but special counsels in general. So is that a question, do you think, that may come up and when this is returned to the lower courts and potentially sent back to the Supreme Court at some point?
Katie, absolutely. I think you're right. It is an issue in a pre-trial motion and hearing already by the Florida judge, Aileen Cannon. And, you know, she paid attention to the friend of the court brief that was filed by two former attorneys general, Edwin Meese and Michael Mukasey, and they make a very persuasive, compelling argument that there is no law establishing this special counsel, only regulation, but under the law, at minimum, it has to be a Senate-approved position. Look at all of the other special counsels. They were former U.S. attorneys who were Senate-approved. That's not Jack Smith. For a nanosecond, he was an acting U.S. attorney, but he was never Senate approved. So, you know, that is for consideration not just by the trial court in Florida, but on appeal as well.
So, Greg, this question will be make it abundantly clear I didn't go to law school. But just to dumb it down a little bit, Nixon tried to do immunity with Watergate. He says, I'm immune, I'm the President of the United States. But he did something illegal, goes into the DNC, tries to break into Watergate, their headquarters. So if you do something, the example that dissent gave of bribery, murder, that's against the law. That would not exonerate the president. You just because you're president and this ruling handed down doesn't mean you can just bribe people and murder people. That it's about his actions as president, correct?
Yeah, you know, I think Sotomayor missed the entire
Go Mage Armor.
majority ruling. The things she's citing, SEAL Team 6 can kill a political opponent, that's not a core constitutional purpose. And the Supreme Court made it abundantly clear in their ruling that only core constitutional purposes, official acts, are protected with immunity. All other things are not official, they are private acts, and if they are criminal, then a president or former president is criminally culpable.
Okay.
Remember, President Obama killed LWOTC. He was in Yemen, but he's an American citizen. Could Barack Obama be brought up on murder charges? So is that what people want?
Yeah, I mean, that is the classic example. There have been other actions by prior presidents that may well have crossed the line. But they were never criminally charged because there was a respect for the office of the presidency. Presidents sometimes have to make tough decisions. They don't always get it right. But the court has finally, belatedly, because of the rise of lawfare, now decided we have to extend the civil immunity to criminal immunity with limitations that are common sense.
Well, despite the unhinged nature of the response, this ruling actually protects Republican presidents and Democratic presidents from prosecution in office.
Right.
Greg, I also found it just interesting that the Justice Center here would say that SEAL Team 6 would be operating on American soil. I mean, the idea, they don't operate on U.S. soil.
It was brought up in the hearings when they were thrashing through it. And this was so obvious if you listen to the hearings, we listened to a lot of it, that they were really wrestling with the different scenarios about what to do. So now, this doesn't mean that Donald Trump's exonerated. It means they're going to go give it back to the lower court, and they're going to have an open hearing perhaps, and they're going to say, this is what I have against the former president. And they're going to say, this defense going to go, well, this is why that's not true. So it might not benefit President Trump to have all this out there. But then you think to yourself, we just saw the January 6th trial. It was a primetime show for 2.5 weeks where there was no dissent. And the people still moved on, and he's still winning.
We have the current president, a Democrat, continuing this attack on the legitimacy of the Supreme Court so they can ultimately pass the Supreme Court with people who will rubber stamp their agenda. And for Joe Biden to go out at the White House last night to attack the justices and then to fundraise off of it this morning while distorting what the actual opinion said is an unprecedented thing as well in terms of where we are in this country.
Well, the White House and the campaign are hunkered down because after the debacle on Thursday, they had to change the subject, obviously. And so when they do, hey, let's make the Supreme Court the boogeyman along with the
Excellent.
President Donald Trump as a director.
Now we can get started. Let's see.
It's interesting.
New adventure.
I think on Thursday night they had a mortician do his makeup. Last night they got
Cleric.
or something. He looked a lot better. Of course, he read.
There we go.
4.5 minutes right off the teleprompter, and then the one unscripted moment was when he had the opportunity when he turned toward the
Cleric
behind him there in Cross Hall. Would he
Ranger.
Question. Well, he's got to, right?
And Wizard.
Watch this. Thank you.
It's the most balanced party I can think of. Alright. We'll play the intro because it's part of the story.
We're not going to hear from him.
Explorer's fine.
People have said, you're an old guy. Are you sure you're up to the job? And he said a million times, watch me.
Yeah,
well, we watched him on Thursday and we're terrified. And now he's pretty much adopted a new kind of idea, and that is trust me. And that is one of the reasons why apparently they're rushing behind the scenes to try to nominate him a couple of weeks early, virtually before the convention, so that somebody else can't replace him.
They are desperately trying to save the Biden campaign as a number of high-profile Democrats call for the president to drop out. Axios is out with a news story today talking about behind the scenes on this, saying behind the curtain, Biden, who has ducked tough interviews and avoiding no-holds-barred press conferences, is now considering both look for a town hall or big one-on-one interview this month. So it would be nice if the president showed up in the White House press briefing once in a while. He's never done that. It would be great for him to answer questions from more than 2 reporters. So he has pre-screened it on the note card, and we'll see how that goes. But the American people deserve that, to see more of the president.
So here's the deal. The president behind closed doors with his family is going to try to fight this. And this is the strategy according to Axios. Number 1, dismiss the bedwetting. People panicking because of his age and his performance. Squeeze the polls for juice. Try to find something good in what has been emerging. For example, things aren't nearly as bad after the first polls start coming out. After the debate, warn of chaos. That's everything Trump. Trump is chaos. Trump is chaos. Trump's got to be ready to an answer for that. Meanwhile, one of his best answers would be just continuing to be consistent in his appearances, his interviews, and his rallies. Limit dissent. Good luck with that. Keep elected leaders close. I guess he wants to make sure that other senators and congressmen don't speak out, but his main problem is James Carville and David Axelrod. Get the donor class to chill. He has not had success with that yet. Prove vitality. Okay, run a triathlon. That's my recommendation. Ignore and engage the media. They're saying that maybe he should do a massive sit-down, a long sit-down. They're talking about that, or a long press conference. The problem would be performance.
I guess my point with all of this is that they're operating under a theory that this is curable. That there's somehow, we know that there's good days and bad days. It's part of the thing. There's going to be days where he comes out swinging because it was a good day for him. But then the next day he'll be under, just like what we saw on the debate stage. So, I mean, I get it. I get you got to have to do something. But I just don't understand the Democrats' strategy here. When you can have another candidate, bring someone else out there. You have this deep bench of,
but who wants to do it? They want to get ready for 2028. But I think it's a huge risk.
The difference from the Republican Party and the Democratic Party is that they have the power of the purse. People always talk about and compliment Nancy Pelosi's power in the House. Well, guess what? She can campaign against them. Republicans, you can't do that. And it's the same thing for when it comes to this thing. The White House has sent out a memo essentially to all of the Democrats that are senators as well as governors. They're saying, listen, the money's going to go behind Kamala Harris. Well, don't do it.
Here's the thing. Last night at 5:30, they had a Zoom call. The DNC, the money people, talked to all the big donors. There were 500 of them on the Zoom call. And essentially what they said was, hey, what happened to our guy on Thursday night? Who the hell was that guy? And the answer was what we have heard over the last 72 hours, and that was, well, he had one bad night. One person said it was obviously just damage control, but at the same time, while the campaign was going through, our internal polling shows we might lose a little something for a little while, but we're going to come back. The people on the phone call who talked to the New York Times this morning, apparently they said, we did not find the campaign's answers totally satisfying or honest.
They did the Super Bowl interview. They skipped the Super Bowl interview, and now they think it's a great idea to put the president out there. Other thing about the candidates is nobody can beat Trump at this point. They've done this polling where they have the bench for the Democrats, and Trump beats all of them.
Katie, that's the thing. If you're Whitmer, if you're Newsom, if you're Wes Moore, you want to queue up for 2028. You want to wait for these guys to get out. You don't want to take on Trump. Will cut you up, and if you find a way to survive, you're going to be damaged. And ask all these other Republicans that ran against him. And again, they tried it, and it didn't work. Ask Governor DeSantis, he's damaged. So I think that people like you, you guys work this out. I'm waiting for 2028 when this guy's gone. And I'm not going to come in the middle of it and blow it and then have to be a loser when I try to run in 2028. I think it's a huge risk. I feel like a lot of Democratic upcoming so-called stars are like, you guys can have it now. Finish up strong.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things to add to this is our lead story, and that is the Supreme Court ruling yesterday has energized Joe Biden's base. We don't like him because he acted like a dead guy the other night, but at the same time, we don't want him to vote.
We'll see. We'll see if it energizes the base unless they just said, I've seen enough, and I already know Trump. There's nothing you could do to get me madder or like him more.
So there's more news coming out today. So Carly is here.
She's energized.
Yes, I am energized. Always. That base doesn't need to be energized, though. It's the swing voters that do. But we'll leave it there and get to more news here. A carjacking suspect in Florida has been arrested after this video shows him leaving the victim's 3-year-old daughter on the side of the road. Investigators say the mother was involved in a car accident with another vehicle when the suspect entered her SUV as she got out to exchange information with the other driver and took off. What a wild situation. He was arrested after abandoning the vehicle and faces several charges, including kidnapping and carjacking. At least 30 people are hurt after an Air Europa Boeing plane hit turbulence that sent passengers flying out of their seats. One man even got stuck in the overhead bin, if you could believe it. Ceiling panels were torn off, seats destroyed. The flight was headed from Madrid to Uruguay, but was diverted to Brazil on Monday. My goodness. And listen to this. A new survey reveals the average American feels they need to earn more than $186,000 per year just to live comfortably amid back-breaking inflation. But some baby boomers are choosing to room together to combat high costs of living as well as loneliness. They are becoming what is now termed as roommates. And it has us thinking there are going to be a lot more odd couples out there.
What's wrong, Master? Something wrong with this system, that's what's wrong. I don't think that 2 single men living alone in a big 8-room apartment should have a cleaner house than my mother.
Well, history is repeating itself because that's happening now. One of the roommates tells the New York Post he's, quote, happy as a clam with his new housemate. And those are your headlines. Is that cute? I don't know. How do I feel about that?
This sounds like an elderly frat house.
No, it is. And I'll tell you, well, my mom never wanted to sell her house, right? But she finally did. She moved in a senior community. Best time she ever had. It was like really nice.
I don't like the reason they had to do it, but I love the idea.
Right. 20 years, guys, a whole bunch of new friends, all the same age, all of the same
This is essentially the house your family grew up in. The kids have moved away, and now suddenly Gus is living up in Peter's bedroom.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Gus, put that down.
I think it's a great idea.
It's a great idea. All right. Well, this is not a good idea. Fox Weather Alert, the earliest Category 5 hurricane bringing damage and destruction to the Caribbean islands. Adam is tracking the intense storm.
Here's why you should switch from Google to DuckDuckGo on all your devices. DuckDuckGo comes with a built-in search engine like Google, but it's private and doesn't spy on your searches. And DuckDuckGo lets you browse like Chrome, but it blocks cookies and creepy ads that follow you around from Google and other companies. And there's no catch. It's free. We make money from ads, but they don't follow you around. Join the millions of people taking back their privacy by downloading DuckDuckGo on all your devices today.
Lowe's knows the right paint at a great price can get you the right look today. That's why select paints and stains are buy 2 get 1 free, so you can refresh your space inside and out. Paint more for less this July 4th.
Introducing new Advil Targeted Relief, the only topical pain reliever with 4 powerful pain-fighting ingredients that start working on contact to target tough pain at the source for up to 8 hours of powerful relief. New Advil Targeted Relief.
The best things in life come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 thumbs up. And now, buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, 2 months free. All with fast, reliable, nationwide coverage. Make the switch today.
HomeAglow just cleaned my entire house for $19. Seriously, $19. They showed up right on time and did my dishes, my laundry. They even cleaned my windows. You just pick a date, pick a cleaner, and enjoy a spotless house for $19. I love using HomeAglow, and I think you will too.
I can feel the winds of change.
Oh, man, I love a good hotel breakfast. So close to the stadium. I'm actually getting the last room for $190.
I booked the last room a week ago.
I booked yesterday for $140.
What?
Oh, some sites panic you into booking their last room. They don't have all the availability. Instead, use Trivago. Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to $50 a night.
Well, at least I got the last ticket to the game.
Hotel? Trivago.
When you're cooking on a Blackstone, you get a better cooking experience. Cook anything.
anytime, anywhere. Look here, here's my store retailer of BlackstoneProducts.com now. Make everything better on Blackstone.
I don't know the
Running around? With Chewy, always keep your bowl full. Save 35% on your first auto ship order. Get the food they love. Delivered again and again. Why do couples choose a Sleep Number Smart Bed? I need help with their snore. Sleep Number does that. Thank you. Shop our lowest prices of the season with free home delivery. Sleep Number Smart Bed starting at $9.99.
You'll see.
Anyway, Thorax are quite real, and not just in the Badlands. Across a secret settlement right here in the Principality. High in the hills. I left the main road a shorter way through, and I was making good time.
Lean could be the answer you've been searching for. Visit TakeLean.com and get 15% off with promo code GET15 at TakeLean.com. Hey folks, Chris Cooney here with Leaf Filter, America's largest gutter and gutter protection company. Leaf Filter has over 150 locations and has been installed on over 1 million homes. We've been protecting homes now for over 20 years. Our patented technology offers total protection for your home and comes with a lifetime transferable warranty. The process is simple. Give us a call to schedule your free gutter inspection. If you decide to move forward with the project, you put nothing down at all. 833-LEAF FILTER or visit leaffilter.com today.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
You prepare for the unexpected. So do we. TrueWork builds workwear offering technical performance fabrics and an integrated workwear system, so you can perform at your best. Work wonders. TrueWork.
All right, coming up on 6:30 here in New York City, and we got a Fox weather alert. Hurricane Beryl is becoming the earliest Category 5 storm in history. Late last night, after demolishing towns across the Caribbean. Look at that mess in Barbados. At least 2 people are dead in Grenada and St. Vincent as the storm now is tracking toward Jamaica. Let's check in with meteorologist Adam Kloss with our Fox weather forecast. Cat 5, that's crazy.
It really is crazy, Steve. This is a storm that continues to overperform what wind speeds we're seeing out of this. 165 miles an hour is now moving to the west-northwest at 22 miles an hour. It ran over the Lesser Antilles yesterday evening, now continuing to track its way ultimately towards Jamaica. Here's how it's intensified: 130 miles an hour on Sunday, jumping up to 165 miles an hour overnight. Now, we are expecting it to interact with some conditions that maybe lower the strength just a little bit, but still a really powerful storm. By the time you run up on Jamaica, that is through the day on Thursday into Thursday morning. So think Wednesday through Wednesday night into Thursday morning. You're talking about a Category 4 hurricane at that point, continuing to weaken a little bit as it ultimately makes its move over towards Mexico. Maybe a Cat 2 or a Cat 1 finally as it makes that correction. But again, all eyes are going to be on Jamaica here as we get into throughout the course on Wednesday into Wednesday evening. That is when that storm will be passing the island of Jamaica. Those are your weather headlines for now. Lawrence, over to you.
Thanks, Adam. Fox Weather got you covered. So this morning, the death penalty could be back on the table for 2 illegal immigrants accused of murdering 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungri. As lab results revealed, she was sexually assaulted before her body was dumped into Houston Bayou 2 weeks ago. National Border Patrol Council Vice President Arthur Quinto joins us now. So, the DA had made it very clear the moment that the results came back from the lab that they were, and if it was true, the death penalty was going to be back on the table. What's your reaction?
It's horrifying that it even happened. I mean, to be honest, that's the true reaction. It's just horrific that it happened, and unfortunately, I think that because of all the border policies this administration has exhibited, I believe that we're going to see more. It's very unfortunate. When you're looking at the millions that have already come into the country, just by simply asking for asylum, and then you start looking at the gotaways, I think that there's going to be more of these stories. It's horrifying, And even if you decide to say, hey, we're going to put a cap on the amount of people that are asking for asylum, like has been done by this administration, what's the plan moving forward for the millions that they've already allowed in the country now?
It's clear that they were getting away with this in the country that they came from. It looks like Texas is going to send a message that's not going to be tolerated. I think that's important. Now that this is Chicago, it looks like 4 illegal immigrants between the ages of 18 and 22 are going to be due back in court today. They're accused of attacking and robbing a man in Chicago on a train in broad daylight. And we got exclusive video of that, Art. It looks like there's no end in sight to this crisis. The president has responded on the debate stage by saying that you guys endorsed them.
Right. My initial reaction when I heard that, I was in shock. And obviously I got a lot of phone calls, a lot of individuals were reaching out, and it is immediately the National Border Patrol Council sent out a statement. We absolutely did not endorse, this administration in any way, shape, or form, nor would we, because it's just, how do you endorse an administration that has completely turned their back on the borders, border security, and just defending our borders towards a better future for America? That's what it comes down to, and it's not a racial issue. I know that's always been thrown out there. It comes down to Americans as a whole should be safe, regardless of what political party they're or what side of the aisle they're on. They should feel safe at home, and everyone realizes that under this administration, it hasn't mattered. And the reality is that our nation's borders is pretty wide open to the world. All they have to do is say, claim asylum, and everyone's been allowed to be released. Even individuals that may have a criminal record in their country, there's no way to actually check in this country to see what their records would be.
Yes, we don't have the records to check. And the racism argument is such nonsense, Art. Half of the Border Patrol are minorities. So they got to find something else. Art, thanks so much for getting up this morning for us.
Thank you so much. You guys have a good day.
You got it, brother. So could yesterday's ruling on presidential immunity allow Democrats to pack the Supreme Court? We'll ask one Republican congressman, Greg Steube. He's next.
Have you always had trouble losing weight and keeping it off? Same.
Discover the power of Wegovy. With Wegovy, I lost 35 pounds. And some lost over 46 pounds.
Wegovy. And I'm keeping weight off.
Wegovy helps you lose weight and keep it off. I'm reducing my risk. Wegovy is the only FDA-approved weight management medicine that's proven to reduce risk of major cardiovascular events in adults with heart disease and with either obesity or overweight. Wegovy shouldn't be used with semaglutide or GLP-1 medicines. Don't take Wegovy if you or your family had medullary thyroid cancer, multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, or if allergic to it. Stop Wegovy and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or an allergic reaction. Serious side effects may happen, including pancreatitis and gallbladder problems. Wegovy may cause low blood sugar in people with diabetes, especially if you take medicines to treat diabetes. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes, or if you feel your heart racing while at rest. Depression or thoughts of suicide may occur. Call your provider right away if you have any mental changes. Common side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may cause kidney problems.
With Wegovy,
I'm losing weight.
I'm keeping it off.
And I'm lowering my CV risk. That's the power of winning. Check for cost and coverage before talking to your healthcare professional about Wegovy.
Babe, I'm buying this umbrella.
New blender.
How about tide chairs?
Cutting board?
A bar cards.
Love it. Budget?
Bed Bath & Beyond.
All things home, all online. BedBathAndBeyond.com.
A heart attack? Do they have life insurance?
No,
But we have life insurance. John.
I'm trying to find something we can afford.
Fortunately, in only a few minutes, SelectQuote found John a $500,000 policy for only $29 a month. And his wife Ann a $500,000 policy for only $21 a month. Go to SelectQuote.com now and get the insurance your family needs at a price you can afford.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save.
Tiered allegiance flags supplied. We grew sick and tired of flying flags that were made overseas, flags that would rip and tear easily. So we really made a commitment to quality. All of our flags are finished with bar tacking at all the stress points, and they are sewn using double needle wax.
All the flag materials are sourced in America, and they are made by American businesses. So we're American made from beginning to end.
Shop now at ShowAllegiance.com.
With the price of just about everything inflating these days, you may wonder why Mint is deflating the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Well, it's easy. You know, a great price on a great product is better than one of those things, right? Does Big Marcos really think that's good work? This one will never see the light of day. Alright.
Before Apoquel Chewable for allergic itch, giving dogs pills was a battle of wits. Oh, Maria, I'm wise to your foolish game.
Is it gone?
Totally gone. Itch relief just got easier. Apoquel, the trusted #1 treatment for allergic itch, is now available in a tasty chewable that works in a day.
Do not use in dogs with serious infections. May cause worsening of existing parasitic skin infestations or pre-existing cancers and serious infections. New neoplasias have been observed. Do not use in dogs less than 12 months old.
Ask your vet for Apoquel Chewable.
Do it.
My hair was thinning all around my hairline.
My dermatologist recommended Nutrafol. It's 100% drug-free and clinically tested.
My hair is longer, thicker.
Nutrafol is life-changing.
Get growing at Nutrafol.com.
This is the one who helps everyone stay safe. An unsung hero in a building full of everyday heroes. It's just how he likes it. The industrial-grade products you need. Call, click, or stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Whether you're moving across town or across the country, you can count on Pods to deliver when we say we will, which is why we were voted America's #1 container moving company. Book your move today at pods.com.
Before revolution, before America, before destiny came calling, he was George.
You have ambitions.
I have pride, sir. A pioneer, a soldier, a leader on the rise. This is the story of the greatest American before there was an American. This is the story of George. George, Rise of a Revolutionary. Streaming now on Fox Nation.
President Joe Biden just put a political target on the back of the Supreme Court. Remember, the Democrats have been talking for years about hacking the court. The greatest threat to American democracy today has just become Joe Biden. He's reinforced his position of weaponizing the justice system and now weaponizing the Supreme Court. All right, there you go. That was Tim Scott responding to the president's speech last night and the Supreme Court decision in the afternoon. It's a Fox News alert. President Biden facing strong backlash this morning after lashing out at the Supreme Court's ruling on immunity. As critics warn, Democrats will now double down in their push to pack the court. Adam Schiff has said as much. Congressman Greg Steube joins us now on the weaponization of the federal government subcommittee that he's on. He joins us. Congressman, your reaction to the Democrats' reaction to the Supreme Court ruling?
Well, it's fascinating that Biden gets up there for 4 minutes and criticizes the court and completely changes the language of the ruling. In the ruling, it says that no president is above the law, yet Biden's now saying that Trump's going to try to use this. And now that any president that's in there is going to be able to do criminal acts and get away with it. It's fear-mongering by the Democrats. It's their typical ploy to try to make it all about Trump taking over the country and fear-mongering the American people. And the American people are smarter than that. You've seen Trump's poll numbers increase dramatically after each one of these indictments, and it's because the American people see that Joe Biden has weaponized the court system and the DOJ to go after his political opponent, and finally the Supreme Court has had a case that they've been able to reset the pendulum back to the law.
So, Greg, you're the lawyer. But what he's saying is go to the lower court and case by case, find out and let the judge rule, whatever that lower court would be, whether what that person, that president's doing is within his job description. And if it's not, then he's going to be tried like everyone else because he's not above the law. But that's not the way it's been characterized, right?
Yeah, within his official actions, which very clearly this case stems from January 6th, President Trump just had a rally that people to peacefully and patriotically let their voices be heard, which is clearly within the confines of his responsibility as President of the United States. Obviously, the President, in his official actions, has the ability to have a rally and talk to the American people and tell them to peacefully and patriotically have their voices be heard. So it completely upends and gives the president immunity for official actions, and it upends all these Jack Smith cases. I think one of the pieces, putting my lawyer hat on for a second, was Clarence Thomas's. He agreed with the majority, but what he said was that Jack Smith and these special prosecutors aren't even constitutional, because they haven't been appointed by Congress. Congress didn't create special counsels to go after the president. So he says you have a civilian going after the president and prosecuting the president of the United States. And I think that's something that we in the House should focus on.
Listen to AOC. I always get up in the morning and what did AOC do? I'm sure you do not have a bracelet like that. But let's take a look at this tweet that she put out, letting everybody know exactly where she stands. She says, consumed by corruption. Corruption crisis beyond its control. Today's ruling represents an assault on American democracy. It is up to Congress to defend our nation from this authoritarian capture. I intend on filing articles of impeachment upon our return. How's she going to do that? She's going to impeach all the justices?
Well, and she'd have to impeach 6 of them, 3 of which were only appointed by President Trump. And obviously the Republicans have the House, so that's not going to happen. You have to have them removed by U.S. Supreme Court justice has never been removed in the history of our country, because then it takes 2/3 in the Senate to remove them. So again, they're weaponizing the justice system, going after the court because they don't agree with them. Heaven forbid they're not all leftist propagandists like they are in their progressive ideology, and when they're not, they attack them. This is the same group of people that for years now, Senator Scott is right, for years have said they want to pack the court because they want to make it full of leftists that do the will of the Democratic Party.
And it'll be a battle to see who, if you guys can retain the majority, as well as take the Senate, as well as the presidency. Another reason to keep your pay attention right here. Congressman Stubbe, thanks so much.
Anytime, good to see you.
All right, 16 minutes before the top of the hour. Can you tell the difference between a robot voice and a human voice? An AI chat seems to be fooling some by phone. Kurt the Cyber Guy is here with his real voice and his real persona.
We should go, don't you think? Very well. Go.
I told myself I was okay with my moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis symptoms, with my psoriatic arthritis symptoms. But just okay isn't okay, and I was done settling. If you still have symptoms after a TNF block, Chimera or Endor, Rinvoq may help. Rinvoq is a once-daily pill that can rapidly relieve joint pain, stiffness, and swelling in RA and PSA, relieve fatigue for some, and stop joint damage. And in PSA, can leave skin clear or almost clear.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB, serious infections and blood clots, some fatal. Cancers, including lymphoma and skin, heart attack, stroke, and GI tears occur. People 50 and older with a heart disease risk factor have an increased risk of death. Serious allergic reactions can occur. Tell your doctor if you are or may become pregnant.
Done settling? Ask your rheumatologist for Rinvoq and take back what's yours. AbbVie could help you save.
Here's to the courageous Americans. Here's to the selfless patriots. To the men and women who protect this way of life out here. We call them heroes. To recognize current military, veterans, and first responders, we're announcing a program to honor them all. We call it Hometown Heroes. In celebration, we're donating $1 million to charities that support these heroic men and women. Tractor Supply, proud to recognize the hometown heroes all across America.
The future is not just going to happen. You have to make it. And if you want a successful business, all it takes is an idea. And now becomes the future. A future where you grew a dream into a reality. It's waiting for you mere minutes away. The future is nothing but power. And it's all yours. The all-new GoDaddy Aero. Get your business online in minutes with the power of AI.
Home with Lowe's showed up right on time and did my dishes, my laundry. They even cleaned my windows. I love that you just pick a date, pick a cleaner, and enjoy a spotless house for $19.
I managed to get the last room for $190.
I booked the last room a week ago.
I booked yesterday. Some sites panic you into booking their last room. Instead, Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites so you can save up to $50 a night. Hotel Trivago.
Hi, I'm Sally. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a flight nurse on a helicopter that specializes in trauma. I've been doing flight nursing for 24 years. I had a fear that I wouldn't be able to keep up. I wanted all the boost I could get. I heard about Prevagen from a friend. I read the clinical study on it, and I had good reviews. I've been taking Prevagen now for 5 years, and it's really helped me stay sharp and present. It's really worked for me.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
Democrats scrambling while fallout continues after the first debate. Will the party choose to stand by the president? Vivek Ramaswamy weighs in live tonight on primetime.
Hey, Rachel. It's been about 20 years.
Wherever you go. Your every action will reflect upon the council's reputation. Remember that. Always. Now, please, raise your right hand. Do you, each and all, solemnly swear your lives and allegiance to this council, and promise to carry forth our mission to protect our alliance from any who would threaten the common good? I swear. Excellent.
When an impaired driver
Lord Karen will enter your name into the council's register.
During the pandemic, all of our lives changed, and many of us turned to alcohol.
Congratulations, deputies.
As life returns to normal, the increase in substance use for COVID has occurred, and some police services report
something more pompous.
that caused heartbreak and devastation.
Just
Now,
feels a
more
bit
than ever, we need your commitment to never drive
sorry to
and
disappoint.
to encourage all of your family and friends to do the same.
As I'm sure you know, the council maintains a number of outposts to secure the border between the principality and the marches. One of them is the former imperial fortress, KLM. It's held by some 50 troops under the command of Captain Henry. He sends us weekly status reports, or rather, he used to. We haven't heard a word from him in 3 weeks. Leave immediately for KLM and find out if anyone there is still alive. If Captain Henrik or anyone else is still breathing, bring him back. The council wants a first-hand report.
Welcome back. A mistrial declared in Karen Reed's murder case after jurors were still split on a verdict following the 5 days of deliberation. Reed was charged with the murder in the January 2022 death of her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe. Prosecutors claim Reed hit O'Keefe with her SUV after a night of drinking when she dropped him off at the home of another officer. But Reed's attorneys say she's being framed by authorities in a massive conspiracy, claiming O'Keefe died at the officer's home and was dragged outside. This coming as an investigator in the case was relieved of his duties in the district attorney's office. State Police Detective Michael Proctor now facing an internal affairs probe over, quote, serious misconduct after he read text messages about Karen Reed on the stand, making comments about her physical appearance and medical condition. Proctor acknowledging on the stand that the messages were, quote, unprofessional, but said they had no impact on the investigation. Prosecutors say they plan on retrying the case. No date has been set so far. Over to you, Steve.
All right. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, an artificial intelligence voice bot caught line on a simulated robocall claiming that it was a person, an actual human, without being programmed to say what it said. The voice, created by tech startup Bland AI, was tested to pretend to be from a doctor's office and was able to retrieve personal information, medical information, from a hypothetical teenage girl. Kurt Knudsen, the cyber guy, is here with more on this Tech Tuesday. So, you know, I get why some companies might want to hire a chatbot rather than hire a person because it could do stuff, but there is peril in having a robot do your phone calling.
Well, when it's lying to you, for sure. Good morning, Steve. This one's so convincing that it sounds human, and then you ask it if it's human, and it says, yeah, I'm human. It's a San Francisco-based Bland AI that is making this customer service AI tech out there in the market, programmed to sound just like the real person. In fact, It sounds a lot like Scarlett Johansson. Again, they say it's not, but she's been mimicked so frequently she's earned the name ScarJo for these AI ripoff voices. Well, at this point, annoying robocalls are already bad and they're already on the rise enough. So, I mean, I don't like any of this technology. I want a stamp to know I'm talking to a human being. If it's gonna be a machine, just tell me it's a machine.
Exactly. And Blend AI gave us a statement. They said, while there may always be bad actors and people who attempt to abuse new technologies, we are committed to continually adapting to these safety challenges. And you say the most important way to stop robocalls is to remove your personal data from the internet. Go to cyberguide.com, more information. In the meantime, Kurt,
excellent.
I know your mom lives down in Florida, and this is great news for people
I think we're going great weapon fighting for you, buddy. Two-handers. That's what I want to throw on you.
And if somebody is going down, drowning, it can rescue them.
It is called the TY3R Flying Life Buoy. It's dispatched by someone to someone who's in distress in the water up to a half-mile away. Now, human lifeguards will dispatch this and watch this, and at the same time, there's a human response behind it, but this thing's flying at 29 miles an hour and then drops directly to the person needing help in the water.
Great weapon fighting.
2 adults up at one time with one single floating device, and pretty incredible. It is coming to the States. It's not here quite yet. It's on its way. $11,803 will be the price tag when it hits USA shores. Might be worth the money on this one.
It just saved one life. It pays for itself right there. That is amazing. For more information about both those topics, go to cyberguide.com. Cyberguide, thank you very much.
Good to see you, sir.
All right. Have a great week. All right. Now, Carly joins us with some news from out west.
Hello. That's right, Steve. I certainly do. A Fox wildfire alert. Residents around San Diego evacuating after firefighters say a car crash caused a brush fire that's now burned over 900 acres. They say the blaze is spreading at a moderate rate. Only the driver in the car accident was hurt so far. They were taken to the hospital with unknown injuries. Senator Bob Menendez's sister taking the stand in the New Jersey lawmaker's bribery trial yesterday. She testified it was common practice for Cuban Americans like themselves to stash cash in their homes, saying, quote, "It's normal. He's a Cuban. Every Cuban that came to the U.S., you would find that they would have cash in their home because in Cuba they can take everything away from you, whether you like it or not." And a tough sports day to pass along. Uruguay sending the U.S. men's national team packing from the Copa America soccer tournament after a 1-0 loss. This goal causing some controversy as a player from Uruguay appears to be offside on this free kick, but the goal stood after a video review. The U.S. plays next in September, so big summer day for U.S. men's soccer fans, Steve.
No storybook ending.
Not this time.
All right, Carly, thank you very much. Meanwhile, I think that should say your wallet should be loving it. Fast food chains are pushing new value menu deals to fight inflation. Who's got the best ones? Stick around, folks. You're watching Fox and Friends.
COPD isn't pretty. I'm out of breath and often out of the picture. But this is my story. And with Once Daily Trilogy, it can still be beautiful. Because with 3 medicines and 1 inhaler, Trilogy keeps my airways open for a full 24 hours and prevents future flare-ups. Trilogy also improves lung function, so I can breathe more freely all day and night.
Trilogy won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Do not take Trilogy more than prescribed. Trilogy may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsening breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur.
It's good.
Ask your doctor about Once Daily Trilogy for COPD, because breathing should be beautiful all day and night.
Fox News Channel is celebrating America's independence. Join the patriotic festivities and share your pride by using #ProudAmerican. Don't miss Fox and Friends Live, sponsored by G. There's only one.
I'm Tony Steen, digital strategist at AmericanEagle.com. Our clients have complex website and digital marketing needs. Badgley Mishka, a high-end fashion brand, needed to expand their online presence, reach new customers, and increase online sales. We solve digital challenges like this all the time. We implemented a digital marketing strategy that more than doubled their online sales through management of email marketing, paid search, SEO, and social media. For results-driven digital marketing solutions, go to AmericanEagle.com.
Family is the most important, but sometimes a lack of energy can get in the way. Your body needs fuel, especially as you get older. But there's no better fuel for your body than whole fruits and vegetables. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements provides the nutrition your body needs, helping you embrace what matters most. Get 50% off your first set as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee by using discount code FOXNEWS.
Lumina is the first fluoride-free toothpaste I've ever found that actually works. My dentist was blown away with how clean and white my teeth are. My gums and teeth are so healthy, it's crazy. You can get Lumino toothpaste at Walmart and Target.
Believe it or not, baby, at University of Phoenix, you can earn your master's.
For under 11,000.
11.
Yes, 11!
Master's degree for under 11K in less than a year.
Some things are too obvious to be a coincidence. Earn your competency-based master's at University of Phoenix.
This isn't just your normal bike. It folds, it unfolds, and it just goes. Need to climb that hill? No problem. And if you're looking for speed, you've come to the right place. 28 miles per hour, up to 65 miles of range. And it works with hydraulic brakes. This is the Electric XP 3.0. Fully foldable, fully assembled, ships free. Simple as that. Go to electriceybikes.com and come ride with us.
At Consumer Cellular, we pride ourselves on giving you fast, reliable, nationwide coverage at up to half the cost of the leading carriers. But don't worry, we've got more than that going for us.
New customers who buy any phone get 2 months of service free when you sign up by July 31st. Call or go online to switch today.
Did you know GoodRx can help you get a better price on your family's prescriptions?
I just opened the app, typed in the name of our meds. That's it. Savings on my husband's blood pressure refills. And savings on my daughter's allergy pills.
Prescription savings for the whole family. Another good reason to check GoodRx.
They went buying this umbrella.
New blender.
How about Pride Kisses?
Cutting board?
A bar crunch.
Love it. Budget?
Bed Bath & Beyond.
Every room, every moment, everything you need for your home at BedBathAndBeyond.com. Save big on kitchen, patio, and everything in between. Don't miss exclusive coupons and offers. All things home, all online. BedBathAndBeyond.com.
It's 7 a.m. on the East Coast. It's Tuesday, July 2nd, and this is Fox and Friends. And we begin with a Fox News alert. Former President Trump quickly moving to overturn his Manhattan conviction after the Supreme Court's immunity ruling. More on that.
Plus, $186,000. That's a big number.
Four of them, I thought so.
That the average American family needs to be comfortable. As older Americans turn to boom-mates, not roommates, boom-mates, to fight inflation.
And close encounters, Missouri deputies pulling over an out-of-the-world vehicle will tell you that the speeder came in peace.
Ever see someone laugh at the script before they actually read it?
It laughs us up.
Are you going to run this? Are you going to run this?
If you don't get through this cold over, I can have to start the show. Screw this up.
No, come on. The second hour of Fox Sports starts right now. Remember, mornings are better with
Fox News alert: former President Trump is expected to look to overturn his conviction in his New York fraud case after the Supreme Court ruled presidents can't be held criminally liable for official acts.
That's right. This, as President Biden claims, quote, voters deserve to see the former president on trial before the election
Of course, that means it would help him get reelected.
Doug Gazzetta is live in Washington.
Good morning. Former President Trump is planning to use this ruling from the court yesterday to try to set aside that criminal conviction or those criminal convictions in that New York business records case. President Biden, in the meantime, really went after the court speaking at the White House last night.
This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law. Not even the President of the United States.
The court ruled yesterday in this 6-3 decision that presidents have some level of immunity from criminal charges for official actions they take as president. No immunity for private actions, but where you draw that line is where things get kind of tricky. Justice Sonia Sotomayor authored this scathing dissent, writing, "The President of the United States is the most powerful person in the country and possibly the world. When he uses his official powers in any way, under the majority's reasoning, he now will be insulated from criminal prosecution. Orders the Navy SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival, immune. Organizes a military coup to hold on to power, immune. Takes a bribe in exchange for a pardon, immune, 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 immune." Now, that is an argument that the author of the majority opinion, Chief Justice John Roberts, sought to refute when he wrote this. "As for the dissents, they strike a tone of chilling doom that is wholly disproportionate to what the court actually does today, conclude that immunity extends to official discussions between the president and his attorney general, and then remand to the lower courts to determine, in the first instance, whether and to what extent Trump's remaining alleged conduct is entitled to immunity. Coming up short on reasoning, the dissents repeatedly leveled variations of the accusation that the court has rendered the president above the law." Now, back to that business records case in a moment. Trump is scheduled to be sentenced in that case next week unless his legal team successfully argues to delay that based on this decision from the High Court yesterday. Back to you guys.
It's a big if. All right. Thank you very much for that. So the big question is, given the fact that what they said yesterday is the Supreme Court, 6-3, said the presidents have immunity for official acts. We know that Donald Trump, regarding the business corruption trial here in New York, we know that he authorized the payments when he was in the Oval Office.
According to the conviction.
Yeah, exactly. So what the Judge Merchan, is going to have to figure out is, okay, was that just a personal thing, or was that an official act of the President of the United States? And on its face, it looks like it's probably a personal thing.
Well, and the Supreme Court also kicked back the question of what counts as an official act and an unofficial act, and the former president is planning to appeal this conviction, and really one of the reasons is to kick that question into gear in terms of the debate surrounding that.
All right, so here's Greg Jarrett was on earlier. So the distortion of the decision by the Supreme Court is stunning, and it was they locked it out yesterday about 7:45 when the president walked out and gave a speech talking about how outraged he is and how wrong it was that the Supreme Court gives limited immunity to the president or immunities him from his official acts, and it just allows a lower court to decide what's an official act, not just for Trump, not just for Biden, but for presidents down the line. To me, this is the way it was argued out in front of all of us. We carried the audio on our channel. We listened to both sides, and we watched the way these justices were kind of thinking out loud and arguing with both sides. Absolute immunity is off the table. You can't go around killing people. And no immunity should be also off the table, because you can't be issuing rules and having your actions governed by whether you're going to get sued or not.
Well, Brian, to that point, I think that the opinion was a balanced opinion, because at first what it does is it sets it out in the sense of, okay, it has to be a power of the president to begin with, right? So before we even have the debate is, if you get immunity, does the president even have the power? Is it part of the duties that the executive branch has? That's the first thing. And then the second thing is it says that, look, if you disagree with the Supreme Court on this, just so you know, we're going to let the lower court do this out before he even comes back to us. Anyway, so if there's a dispute about if it's personal action or president, the lower court is going to deal with this to begin with. So I don't understand what more that they want from the...
It empowers the lower court to make a decision on a case-by-case basis.
The argument that the left is making is that the Supreme Court is trying to be all-powerful. The Supreme Court actually said, look, we want the lower court to deal with this litigation.
But they had to define one little part, and that is the president has immunity when he's doing official presidential stuff. Now, regarding the case here in New York State, where Donald Trump was convicted, that's different because Greg Jarrett was on with us about an hour ago, and he said the problem there is the judge is not a fair guide to the former president. If we were talking about a neutral, impartial judge who actually cares about fairness and due process, then Trump's request yesterday evening to postpone the sentencing, consider setting aside the verdict, would be seriously entertained. But, you know, that's not Juan Rashan. His bias, writ large at trial, enabled a wrongful conviction. He trampled over the defendant's rights, and he committed truly shocking constitutional violations. So are we now to expect that same judge to have an epiphany of ethics and dismantle what he has done? No, that's not Marshawn. The verdict, I think, will eventually be reversed, but not by this judge or any court in New York. Only the federal courts will offer relief because they're the ones that care about the rule of law and due process.
The last thing I would say on this, public servants in this country, from DAs to cops, have some sort of qualified immunity.
Right.
I think the court essentially said the same thing. A DA just can't go out there and shoot someone, but if they're doing something in the confines of their job, there is legal protection. Same for cops as well. If you're doing something inside the purview of your job, then there is some sort of immunity in the law.
The cops are beginning to lose qualified immunity in some cities. But by the way, so today, prosecutors will offer their recommendation to the judge on what type of sentence they think Trump should get July 11th. So look for that too, and probably they're going to go for jail time. Looking at Alvin Gregg, who after July 11th will go in front of Congress and testify and try to justify the case to begin with.
We're going to be looking for that. Happening today for the first time since the debate, the Biden administration, meaning the press secretary, will be taking questions at the White House.
Because as anxious Democratic donors reportedly grilled the campaign over a Zoom call yesterday.
Miller here is live outside the Brady briefing room at the White House. Madeline, you know, there's going to be a million questions, and I have a feeling KJP is just going to say, oh, that relates to the campaign. Call the campaign.
Every piece of junk.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, well, that has been her line. She says she can't talk about things related to the campaign, but no doubt she will face a lot of questions regarding the president's debate performance. The Biden campaign is pointing to internal polling that they say shows the face of the race hasn't changed. They insist the president knows how to turn things around, but they are having a hard time convincing donors. Axios said this about a Zoom call the Biden campaign had with donors on Monday. It was a damage control call, one participant said. I don't know what the pathway forward is, and I think they are trying to figure that out too. Another donor told Axios, we all saw what we saw. Today, the Biden campaign says it raised $127 million in June, which they say was the campaign's best month of the cycle. More than $30 million came after the debate, the majority of which the campaign says were grassroots donations. They see that cash haul as a sign of the president's viability as they try to brush off the president's debate performance as a bad night. A lot of people, though, argue what happened on Thursday wasn't a one-off. Journalist Paul Bernstein says he's spoken to allies of the president who have told him they've seen in the last 6 months, quote, a marked incidence of cognitive decline and physical infirmity, unquote. Here's more from Bernstein.
So we're clearly dealing with
excellent. Let's save it.
Of one person, and it really needs to be explored according to the people I'm talking to, and I think an awful lot of major Democrats believe this, including some who have made statements contrary.
Today, the president will have an event in D.C. where he will talk about extreme weather. He will also attend a campaign reception
in Virginia. Guys, back to you.
Thank you very much, Madeline. So, Carl Bernstein, this is
Cool.
and we
Catch you guys next time, all right? Peace out.
You know, he came up, obviously Watergate made his fame, but he also ran it with the Russian hoax. So I expected him just to defend Joe Biden. He says he did some reporting and says the people behind